Today's video is all about dollar store Christmas DIYs that don't look cheap. If you love creating the high-end designer Christmas look for less, you are in the right place. I'm sharing some brand new ideas, some of my favorite dollar store projects to revisit, and tons of tips and tricks to achieve a truly elevated Pottery Barn high-end inspired Christmas on a dollar store budget. We are making ornaments, shelf decor, wall decor, wreaths, and so much more, all with that high-end look for less that you guys love. So if you're ready to decorate beautifully without overspending, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a new DIY. Alrighty, let's jump right into these high-end dollar store Christmas DIYs. First DIY, we are starting off with some bells from Dollar Tree and a toilet plunge from Dollar Tree. I picked up 5 of these bells for $1.50. I'm located in Canada and we are at $1.50. And as you can see, they're a little bit different than the bells that I had made up before. These guys have a bit of a lip. And I'm going to be removing the greenery as well as the bows and berries off of them, so that way I just have a plain bell. And once everything was removed, I do take a cleaning wipe, almost like a degreaser, and give them a good cleaning, so that way I have no problem with paint going on them. And I'm going to be using metallic gold and satin black spray paints to make over these bells. I will be using the wood part of the plunger and then also some rope. Now the inspiration for this DIY is from Pottery Barn, and I was trying to recreate this look. Now I do know that the shape of the bells is a little bit different, but I think we can create a very similar look for around $10 instead of $283. So I went outside and gave the bells a coat of black paint, spray paint, and I just tried to spray it as evenly as possible without getting any drips. I wasn't going for 100% coverage. I just wanted to have a nice dark base. And then once I was done on one side, I flipped them and did the other side, and then I let them completely dry before I went in with my metallic gold paint. I picked up this paint at Michael's just because I was using my coupon. And I have to tell you guys, I absolutely love this color of gold. There's just something about it. It's so soft and nice looking. I was quite impressed. There's so many different variations of gold that I was worried, but I absolutely love that one. So here I'm just showing you that if you wanted to have that exact look, I have these little hangers from IKEA, and you could spray and paint them black, but then you would have to drill holes into the wall, or maybe if you already have these up, you could hang up the bells onto it. I am just going to use this piece of wood from the toilet plunger. I'm going to stain it with some paint and 2 different colors of paint. I just want to clean it up before the sticky part, so that way I can apply the paint evenly. And that way I can hang this up wherever I want. It's not restricted to putting screws into the wall. For the paint, I'm using a Dollar Tree black chalk paint, and I'm just going to dab a rag in it and rub it on. That way some of the wood grain that's on it will show through. I also want to mention that today's video is in collaboration with my dear friend Sandra from the Schwoman's Nest, or the DIYs at the Schwoman's Nest. I have known Sandra for a very, very long time off YouTube. and now we are obviously friends on YouTube as well. We used to be neighbors at one point, but now we live a couple streets over. And I love Sandra's channel. I think Sandra is one of the most creative people I know. Her DIYs are amazing. So if you have never seen Sandra's channel, make sure you head on over. I will have her channel linked down below for you to check out. And make sure you tell her that I have sent you over there. And if you're stopping by from Sandra's channel, welcome. My name is Sonia, like I said, and I'm glad that you're here. I hope you enjoy my DIYs, and make sure you let me know that you are stopping by from her channel. So once I was done with black chalk paint, I did go in again while it was still somewhat wet and applied some of the metallic gold acrylic paint, same way as I did the chalk paint, just rubbing it on and blending it in. This just made it look a little bit antique in my opinion. And make sure you paint the ends as well. So while I was painting that, my bells have dried completely, and now I'm going to be adding some ropes to them through the exact holes that the greenery was threaded through. Now on the picture, the rope is a little bit thicker, but that's okay. I'm just going to use what I have, and I love the look that it ends up turning out with that thinner rope. So all I'm gonna do is cut rope in 5 different lengths, so that way when I hang them up, they're all gonna hang in different, drop down in different lengths. I'm going to thread the rope through the hole, tie it, and then that knot that I tied it, I'm going to thread it back through the hole, so that way it's on the inside of the bell. And then so then I'll have a loop, and at the bottom of the loop I'm going to take another piece of rope and just wrap it around, so that way it gives it that look that the bells have on this picture that you can see. I repeat the whole process on all the bells, and then I take my piece of wood and hang them all up. You want to play around to see how they fit the best, or what you like the best in staggering the lengths. I absolutely love the way this turned out. I think the paint is perfect on them, and I am so happy for just $10 what this cost me in materials. Couldn't be more pleased. For my next DIY, I picked these up at your dollar store and more, but I have seen similar ones at Dollar Tree as well. Now this is the one that is kind of an not a Pottery Barn dupe, but it is a high-end dupe. I've seen these all over Etsy shops, and Indigo has them for $40. I think they might be on sale now. And they're charcuterie boards. Now, I wasn't going to use mine on a charcuterie board. I'm sure you could if you used a proper sealer that is food safe. You could, but I just wanted a little wood board in the shape of a gingerbread man to go against the Christmas charcuterie board I have in my kitchen on a display. I couldn't find one anywhere in the store except, like I said, Indigo had one, but I'm gonna drop a picture of it here so you can see what that looked like. And I did not love the gold buttons that it had. I think at the beginning of the season I did see one at HomeSense as well, but I just didn't pick it up. So nevertheless, I proceeded on making one myself. So I removed all the buttons and the little bow ties, and I'm obviously going to remove the price tags. And like I said, I got this for $1.30, I think it was, at your dollar store and more, or with more. It's a dollar store that's it's almost like, I would say, comparable to Dollar General in US. And the reason why I picked up two is because I wanted it to be thicker. And so where I had removed all those buttons and bow tie, I am going to glue those two sides together using wood glue and hot glue gun. My wood glue is a little bit thick, so I am using a brush to spread it around. And the little lid was all clogged up anyways. And the hot glue is just there to keep it in place, to give the wood glue time to cure and set. And I'm using little clamps just to hold it together for a little bit. So I will be using the very thin special walnut stain. It is a stain that I have on hand and I like. You can use any stain. You can even use watered down paint if you want. I think you're going to get a very similar look. I am not going to seal this again because, like I said, I'm not using it for anything other than just display. My stain was a little bit thick. I've had it now for almost a year and I haven't used it. So I did decide to put on some gloves. Probably should have put on both of my hands, but just so my fingers don't get too stained. And I really like this technique. I think it shows, even though this is like particle board, it's not really wood. It shows all the little wood grains that it has, and you just want to go in that direction. And I love how simple this project was. I love the way it turned out. It was exactly what I was looking for. And I think it's going to look great in my kitchen. And it cost me $2, $3 tops. And I did decide to stain both sides and then also the sides as well. What do you guys think? I think it looks perfect. For my next DIY, I picked up this snowflake at Dollarama for, I think it was $1.50. But I do know that, yes, I do know that Dollar Tree carries them similar snowflakes as well. And I saw an inspiration at Kirkland's. And even though this wasn't overly expensive, I think we can do it for a lot cheaper. Everything else, all the materials that I used to complete this project, I had on hand. So really this only cost me $1.50 plus tax. So once I had that pesky tag taken off, I am going to leave the rope on just because I'm not sure whether I'm going to hang it up or just lean it up against something. So I just wanted to have that option. So I went out and I spray painted with Rust-Oleum chalk paint in white. And I just gave it a decent amount to cover everything. And once that was dry, which it did not take very long to dry at all. So here it is, as you can see, it's all painted. I only did the one side. I brought it in now. At this time, I thought I was going to sand off the distressing because on that snowflake, it was distressed. It had like parts that were kind of sanded off, but this was not working for me. So I decided to use warm beige acrylic paint and dry brush it on all the edges or wherever I felt like it needed to be brushed on. So I tried two different brushes. The first one did not work the way I wanted it. So I ended up getting this other brush that was more flat and kind of fanned out, and that worked much better. don't think the warm beige was showing very well on the camera. Even here you can see it a little bit, but not as much as I would have liked it. But I think it gave the snowflake some dimension, and I love the way it turned out. So simple. This next DIY is probably one of my favorites besides another one of my favorites besides the bells. And we've all seen these Christmas trees. This particular one I saw at Kirkland's, and they are for about 16-inch one. They are about around $40 US dollars. I know the Pottery Barn has their own version. I think even Bed Bath and Beyond, if you have a store like that. We don't anymore. Has one for around $40 as well. I picked this up for, I think it was $3 or $4 at Dollarama, and I ended up painting it with that warm beige and cinnamon bun acrylic paint. I mixed those two together, and then the second coat I did add some baking soda to it, just to add a little bit of texture to it. So once it was dry, I did want to remove that price tag off of it. So like I said, this came from Dollarama, and it was $3, not $4. So I don't know if you can see on camera very well, but there is a ton of texture from that baking soda. Now I'm going to take my hot glue gun and add design. You can use puffy paint if you have some. I did not have any, so I just use my glue gun, and it kind of created the same look. I did this several years back, and I made gingerbread houses using the same technique, so I figured I could use it again. You just have to make sure that you don't have any of those stringy flyaways that the hot glue gun causes. So I tried to follow the same pattern as it was on the dupe, the piece that I was duping. And then I went in, once the hot glue gun has dried, once the hot glue has dried, I went in with Old Ochre from Annie Sloan. It's chalk paint, and I just went over it, and here I am trying to remove those little stringy things. So I just went over all of the glue. And then I'm going to go in with a different paintbrush, and just fill in so it looks like there's a fallen snow on it. Just thicken up in certain areas. I also covered the little dots with the paint as well, because that's what the picture was showing. It almost seemed like there was maybe some shimmer to it as well. I did not add any shimmer to mine because I'm not the shimmer kind of person, but you totally could add a little bit of glitter while the paint's wet and just sprinkle some on it. I think that would work quite well as well. So this was fairly easy to make, and I think this was very close to the piece that was at the store. And like I said, mine cost me $3 plus tax, and that one was $40. What do you guys think? Did I do a pretty good job in duping this piece? For my first DIY, I got a ton of bottle brush trees. Some I bought, some I had on hand, and also this board that I had on hand, because we are going to be recreating this lit bottle brush tree centerpiece from Pottery Barn. It goes for about $183, as you saw. Now, some of these bluish green bottle brush trees, I don't love the colors, so we're going to spray paint them with some metallic gold. I did pick up some beige bottle brush trees from Dollar Tree, and I think this gold will complement that color really nice. While the bottle brush trees were drying, I hot glued some deer moss onto the board off camera, and then I took the board out and spray painted with some dark walnut. Now starts the fun part, is hot gluing these trees to the board. So these are the beige trees that I picked up at like a taupe color at Dollar Tree. I absolutely love them. I thought that they looked quite high end. Maggie & Co even has ones that are a little bit sitting on like a pedestal. but they're pretty much look this exactly the same. And I picked up three of those. Then I had the rest of them on hand, and I just tried to add variety. The At Pottery Barn you can get all just gold, or you can get ones that have a variety of different colored bottle brush trees as well. So that was my inspiration for mine. Since these were the same, I had three of these that were the same color and the same size. I spaced them out evenly, and then I'm going to fill in with all the rest of them. Once they were all on, I added some small battery operated fairy lights to them. I love how these all came together. It gives you that earthy, rustic vibe that my decor is all about this year. And if you want to see how I'm going to style with these, make sure you are subscribed to my home channel where I share all of my decorating videos. Up this wooden tree. I think it's beautiful as it is, a little bit too much sparkle for my liking, but it was coming off just by rubbing it. So if you don't like the little sparkles, little glitter, you could just take it off. I don't think it was even as much of a glitter as it looked like crystal sugar was on it, but nevertheless, it was still sparkling, so I wanted to, or glittering, I wanted to take that off a little bit. But like I said, the tree looked really good as was, but I had something in my mind that I wanted to do with it. So if I want to, I'm gonna go pick up another one like this and leave it as is. So I got some cinnamon brown and painted the whole tree except the bottom, actually even the bottom part, this with this cinnamon brown because I wanted to recreate this gingerbread tree. I absolutely love the way this looks. Now I could have picked up a very similar looking tree at Dollarama as well that kind of went to the ground and looked more like a ceramic decor piece versus more of the rustic look that this tree has. But I did love the way this tree looked, so I thought I can combine best of both worlds and do this one in that gingerbread tree look. It did only need one coat of paint to cover it all. And then once the paint fully dried, I went in with some puff paint and created a design. I found that this was so much fun to create, and I absolutely enjoyed making this project so much so that I am thinking about going and getting some more things to add the puff paint to. I just love the way it turned out. For my next project, I am remaking one of my projects from last year. I had made several of these bells and I found I wasn't quite using them, so I decided to take one of them and redo the look. There, I have found several different websites that had these bells. The one was this one, which was about $30, and then I also saw them on Pottery Barns, although they were sold out. And So I don't quite know how much they were. Mine was one of those bells that you can pick up at Dollar Rama or Dollar Tree. Sometimes they vary in the shape that they come in, but they're all pretty much the same size. So to create this look, you're going to need some thin rope. You can use thicker rope as well if that's what you want. I opted for thinner rope because that's what it looked like on the picture. And then I just wrapped it around and I went in a couple rows of it. You want to try and space them out evenly. I tried my best without actually measuring. You could also measure so that they're spaced out evenly. And then I mixed up some white acrylic paint with some cornstarch just to make it thicker. If you have some chalk paint, you could use that. I just wanted it to give it a good coverage and also give it a little bit of texture. And then I painted the whole piece with this paint, and it needed 2 coats. This was such an easy DIY, and I think it turned out great, and it's gonna look great in a little Christmas vignette, as part of a little Christmas vignette, or styled on a shelf. Project, you're going to need some sort of a Bristol board. I am using one that I had on hand, and I'm going to cut out some strips out of it, 2 strips, because we are going to be making this brass bow tree topper from McGee & Co. It retails for $22 US. I wanted to make this for such a long time, and I was trying to figure out the best way to do it. And then I did see Evelyn Hernandez do a similar look, so I thought I'd try it out. Try it out myself. So I am going to you could measure it so it's exactly the same size as the McGee & Co. inspo. However, I just eyeballed it. I did not need it to be the same size as that one. I really liked the look of it, and that is what I was trying to recreate. So I just took a piece and then I twisted it so that way the 2 ends meet, and then I into a bow, and then I did that with another piece. And so I took the one strip and I made sure that they are cut the same size. So one will be a little bit longer and that one will be your bottom, and then the shorter one will be your bow. And then you assemble the bows individually, and then you put them together, and then you put the hanging pieces on it. This was so easy to make. You could make even ornaments like this, make them a little bit smaller. You can make them even bigger. It's all up to you. That's the beauty of making things yourself. You can customize them and make them fit your style or your needs. And you can also paint them or put rub and buff or whatever you want on them. They don't have to be the gold. You can paint them any color you want them to be. So now it's time to assemble it. So I'm going to put these two pieces together, and then I'm going to add the hanging pieces. I also cut a little diamond shape to fit right over top of where they were overlapping, because on the original piece, it did have, or the one from Magienko, it did have a little, it looked like a little piece on top. So that is what I am adding here. And then I took it outside and I spray painted with my bronze color, as well as this is antique bronze. And then I also spray painted it with some metallic gold. Then while it was still wet, I brought it inside and used a craft sponge just to blend the paint all together. And once it was dry, I added a little bit of hot glue and craft wire to the back of it, so that way I can attach it to the top of my Christmas tree. You could also add a clothespin to it if you would like. I just love how easy this was to make and how beautiful it looks on top of my tree. Today we are starting with these two deers. I got these, I believe, at Dollarama a few years back, and I attempted to do a makeover but then decided against it. So they've been sitting on my shelf for a while. I decided to give them a new life and see if I'll actually use them in my decor. The first step I did was spray paint them with a gold spray paint. I wasn't looking for a full coverage, just enough for a base coat, and I'm using metallic gold. When spray painting, make sure to use short bursts so you don't get pooling or dripping. You can find decorative deers now in almost every store and in every color, but they can get pretty pricey. Since I already had these, why not give them a makeover to fit my style? Once they were dry, I took some black chalk paint that I had left over from another project. Using a wet paper towel, I dabbed and blended it into the body to give that antique finish, kind of that dented, worn look. Once they fully dried, I went in with Dixie Belle's gilding wax in antique gold and applied it with a foam brush. Here's the difference between one with gilding wax and one without. You can really see the depth and warmth it adds. Then I repeated the same process for the second deer, and here is how they turned out. I think they look so much better now and fit my decor beautifully. If you are enjoying these high-end Christmas decor dupes, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps my channel grow and lets me know you like to see more easy Christmas DIYs like this one. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the rest of my Christmas decorating ideas coming your way this season. For my next DIY, I will be using black and bronze chalk paint, as well as these small little ornaments. I have seen these at Dollar Tree and at Dollarama, and I'm also going to be using some jute rope, or you can use twine. Now my ornaments did come from Dollar Tree, but like I said, I've seen them at any dollar store. And then I was going to use some sanding block too, but at the end I never ended up using it. So the first thing that I am doing is giving it a coat of a bronze spray paint, and then I'm going to add a little bit of the black spray paint to it as well, but not covering it fully. I am covering it more with the bronze, and then I'm just going to do little sprays of black on them. I wanted to create more of that aged look on them. I am really liking the rustic color, less rustic ornaments this year to go with some of the black accents that I will be using in my Christmas decor. So now I'm going to use that twine and cut it up to the length that I need it to be. I am going to be putting this on my large fireplace upstairs, so I wanted to make sure that it fits. So if you are doing this DIY yourself, you might want to measure out where you want this to go and cut the twine to that size. And then I'm taking more twine and cutting it into smaller pieces about 2 inches. I'm going to use that to tie the ornaments to the other twine. Now I'm creating a loop at the end so that way I can hang this up, and I will be doing this on both ends of this rope. And I'm going to trim the piece hanging over from the loop. And then once I have my loops all set up, I'm going to start by adding the ornaments, and I'm tying the rope to the ornament, and then I'm tying the ornament to the rope. And I repeat this for all the ornaments, spacing them out somewhat evenly. You will be able to move them around once they are on the rope anyway, so it doesn't really matter if you space them out evenly right now. You can always adjust them later. If this is your first time stopping by my channel, welcome. My name is Sonia, and on this channel you will find tons of home decor DIYs, from seasonal to DIY projects around the house, as well as just a general DIY decor. So if this is something that you think you might enjoy and you are enjoying this video, I would encourage you to press the subscribe button and notification bell so you get notified when I post new videos. I am starting my Christmas decor DIYs now, and I already posted a mega one. If you've missed it, it will be linked at the end, so go check that one out. That one will give you a ton of inspirations for your DIY decor. I just love the way this garland turned out, and I think it's going to look so good with my brand new cedar garland that I had just purchased from Dollarama for $4. At the moment I saw it, I instantly knew what direction I wanted to take it in. My inspiration came from the beautiful McGee & Co. mini sleigh. Mine is definitely bigger and shaped a bit differently, but we're absolutely going to give it the same high-end rattan style vibe. My original plan was to give it a base coat of spray paint and nutmeg. But when I took it outside, I realized I didn't have enough left in the can, so we pivoted. Instead, I used Dixie Belle Silk All-in-One paint in the color Sandcastle. This paint already has primer and top coat built in, so it gives such a nice coverage. I painted the entire sleigh inside, outside, top, bottom. And I used a smaller detailed brush to get in all those little crevices. Once it dried, you could still see just a bit of the red peeking through, as it is the most difficult color to cover. And if that bothers you, feel free to add another coat. But I decided to move straight into adding depth with any Sloan dark wax, which works exactly like antiquing wax. Using a small chip brush, I brushed the wax on using back and forth strokes instead of buffing it in. This gives it a more natural woven wood look, almost like fall rattan. I'd love to know, have you started crafting for Christmas yet? Tell me what you're making this year and what Christmas style you're going with. Are you doing cozy and rustic, classic red and green, natural, minimal, Ralph Lauren, or something totally different? And if there's a specific look, decor piece, or high-end item you'd love to see me try and dupe this season, let me know in the comments. I'm always looking for new ideas, and you all have the best suggestions. I loved how this finish turned out. I kept the legs gold for contrast and just added a few random touches of wax to knock down the shine. To style it, I added some Norfolk pine stems and these adorable wax melts from Dollar Tree, so it smells amazing in my entryway. Hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. If you're enjoying this project so far, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more high-end Christmas DIYs. I haven't made many ornaments yet this season, so here we are. I found these pattern ornaments at Dollarama for $2.50 for a set of 3. I picked up the gold set and the silver set because they each had different patterns, and I knew I could transform them into these Pottery Barn inspired Mercury glass ornaments. I started by applying silver gilding wax to all of them. I began with a sponge brush, but eventually switched to a stippling brush because it helped push the wax into the details better. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing? I have done Mercury glass look-alike ornaments before on my channel, and I will link that video down below because it was a little bit different if you want to check it out.
Christmas times, we'll be chilling and having a good time. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the windows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my house.
Once they were coated, I mixed equal parts water and vinegar in a spray bottle and grabbed my black spray paint. Outside, I sprayed each ornament generously with the water mixture and immediately followed with a very light, faraway mist of black spray paint. The paint won't stick where the water lands, and that's why it gives the perfect Mercury glass speckled effect.
But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sand. You ready? Doesn't matter, it is Christmas in my heart.
While they were drying, I grabbed my bronze gilding wax and brushed it on top of the ornaments for some extra warmth and dimension for the little caps.
I can promise Santa's coming to visit. No, he wouldn't miss this in Christmas times. Oh, and
Once everything cured, I added jute rope to each one for the rustic old-fashioned look. These honestly look like they came right out of the Pottery Barn catalog.
sunset, it is just getting better on a blanket with the skyline painted in blue. Ooh, yeah, that's what we do. We'll be chilling and having a good time. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the windows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart.
For this last project, I pulled inspiration from a huge mix of places. You've seen me redo thrifty rattan bells before. Those were a McGee & Co. dupe, and you can find similar style now at Pottery Barn and even an antique farmhouse. But this time, we're making our own from scratch. Well, somewhat. I had a ton of natural rattan left over from previous projects. If you're wondering where I get it from, it's just natural placemats from Dollarama. They're affordable and super easy to take apart. I'll link the video where I show exactly how to disassemble them in the description box, or eye in the sky. I also grabbed the largest bell I could find at Dollarama, which was $2. You can spray paint the inside brown or nutmeg if the gold bothers you, but I decided to leave it as is. Starting at the top, I used a hot glue gun and wrapped the rattan all the way around, making sure the top hook stayed exposed. When working on smaller surfaces like this, you really do need more glue. It keeps everything tight as you wrap.
But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sand. You ready? Doesn't matter, it is Christmas in my heart. Here we go. All right. Now this Christmas, we're gonna dance. We're gonna dance, 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 come on. Dance. We're gonna dance, dance, have a good time. Dance, dance, all night long. We're gonna dance, dance, and have a good time.
Now you already know how much I love working with rattan. I made so many different pieces with it over this past year, from vases to woven pumpkins to even those rattan witch hats I shared last season. It's one of my favorite materials because it instantly gives you that warm, organic, high-end designer look without the high-end price. Anytime I have leftover rattan from a project, I stash it away because I always find a way to use it again.
Dance, dance, have a good time. Dance, dance, all night long. We're gonna dance, dance, and have a good time. I think Santa's gonna come and join us in this song. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the windows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sand. You ready? Doesn't matter, it is Christmas in
Once I reached the bottom, I wrapped the rattan slightly over the edges so no gold was peeking through. For that little hook on top, I used a wooden ring and tried cutting it open with my small saw. It did break, but I was able to glue it back together and thread it through the hook or the loop. Then I covered it with a small piece of rattan so everything looked seamless. After everything dried, I used a lighter to burn off any loose fibers or glue strings. Then I took my Annie Sloan dark wax again, this time using a stippling brush and blending it as much as possible. It warmed up the entire piece beautifully. You've definitely seen me reach for dark wax a lot. It's one of my secret weapons for aging and warming up almost any piece. I use it on wood, faux rattan, painted surfaces, on bells, basically anything that needs a little depth or that vintage time-worn look. You can brush it on for a dramatic effect or blend it in softly for a more subtle finish. It just transforms everything and brings so much dimension to these DIYs. I styled it with a brown ribbon, but a dark green ribbon will look absolutely amazing too. Now it's sitting on my fireplace and I love how this one turned out. For my first project, I have picked up this wreath ring a while back at your dollar store with more for $3. And it was a gold color, which is what I needed, so it worked out perfect. And then I also at Dollar Tree picked up the set of 3 white bottle brush trees. And then I had a whole bunch of other stuff on hand that I was thinking about using, like these snowflakes, these wooden stars, and then I also had a whole bunch of greenery, and then you will need some wire. So I will be creating this dupe. As you can see, it's $149, and my dupe for all these things that I had spent came up to $450. But let's say I used all the materials and factored those in, even though I had them on hand, this did not cost me more than $5. So like I mentioned, you need some wire. I will be using green floral wire as well as some crafting gold wire that I had on hand still from scrapbooking years. So the first thing that I'm doing here is creating a base with my greenery, and I am using the floral wire to attach this to the wreath.
Oh, oh, la da da da, oh, oh, la da da da, oh, oh, la da da da, making our Christmas memories. I've been working so much lately, I can barely find the time to sleep. Yeah, I spend my time running around, keeping people pleased. But this is my favorite holiday.
Once I have my base the way I wanted, you could attach more greenery, go up a little bit higher if you'd like. I was happy with the way mine looked. I went ahead and painted these stars black. The reason why I'm painting these stars black, which is a little bit different than the inspiration wreath, is because the room that I'm going to be using this decor has a lot of black accents, so I wanted to incorporate it into that decor. And then while those stars were drying, I went ahead and hot glued the trees to the wreath. And I'm using these white ones. You could use any color you want. I just wanted the white ones. Now I did let these wreaths dry for a few minutes before I went ahead and hot glued these houses. These are the houses from Dollar Tree. And then I forgot to mention that this is what you need as well. I did have these on hand because I had DIY them about 2 weeks ago, where I just spray painted them white to fit my decor a bit better. Now to hot glue this, you do need to use a ton of glue, and as you can see, this house does have a switch for a light as well, and that's one of the things that the wreaths from Pottery Barn was lit up. The house was lit up as well. I don't think I'm going to be lighting up mine, but we'll see how I feel about it once it is hanging on my mirror where it's supposed to be going. You want to use plenty of hot glue to attach this from top and from the bottom, and then I also used some clamps just to keep it in place while the glue was drying. So while this was drying, I went back to my stars and my gold floral wire, and I cut up how much I needed. Some I cut shorter, some I cut longer pieces, and then I'm going to hot glue these to the stars.
With you, just you and nobody else. It's so good to see you again, to see you again. Baby, this year it's just gonna be you and me. Hanging by the fire, chill. This is how it's supposed to be. Making our Christmas memories. I've been longing to hold you close. Forget about everyone else. Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Making our Christmas memories.
Now I'm going to go back to my wreath and wrap the wire around the wreath in different directions, and I'm doing 3 on each side. Now to complete this look, I did add some black ribbon to it, and I absolutely love the way this turned out. For $5, I could not be more happier. So what do you guys think? Like I said, those black stars and the ribbon can be done in any color that you want. But I do think that my dupe came out pretty close. What do you guys think? For my next DIY, I am using these ornaments from Dollar Tree. So I picked up 3 of them, so that's $3.50, and I will be making these light up cloches with truck ornament. Now mine aren't going to light up, just simply because I couldn't find the little things to put in there to light up. But if you can, I'm sure there are some, if you can find some, that would be great. And as you can see, these were $19.50 for one, plus $15 for shipping. Now I'm pretty sure these were glass versus mine are plastic, and but I thought I could recreate this look and come pretty close to it with these ones that I picked up at Dollar Tree. So I am painting the lids with brown just to create that wood look. You could also just hot glue some cardboard piece, a round cardboard piece to the bottom of it. And if you are doing light up ones, I would recommend that you do the cardboard so that way you can cut out the switch on it, so that way you don't have to take the thing apart to turn the light on, because if you leave it on the whole time, the battery's not going to last your whole season. So I took the tops off, and I'm just going to hot glue pieces of rope around it. This will create that open look that the other one has.
This Christmas is mine. The smell of fresh pine tree. I get down on my knee, ring in hand, and you almost choked on your mulled wine when I asked you to be mine.
Now for the inside, I had picked up a bag of this snow, and then I also got some of the miniature Christmas village pieces. I got 3 packets, and I used 1 item out of each packet. I think that's what I did, yes. And then 1 or 2 items, and then I also picked up miniature Christmas trees from the same set. So altogether I had spent so I think I said $3.50, but I actually spent $4.50 for the ornaments, and then these packets I spent another $4.50, and then the trees and the snow another $3. So altogether I think that came up to $12. However, I did not use all of the supplies that I had bought, and I also made 3 of them versus 1. I do think that these guys came out pretty cute. I love how they look on my rustic Christmas tree, and I do think that I came pretty close aside from the lighting of the ornament.
An angel choir singing.
This next dupe was so super easy to make, and I think it looks really great, especially on your tier trays or a little tray, any tray or a shelf filler that you need. I am using these small frames that are 2 for $1.50 at Dollar Tree, and then I also picked up 2 of these plaster ornaments that you can paint from Dollar Tree, and they were 2 for $1.50, so my total was $3. Set of 2 at Pottery Barn was $1.83. Now these are bigger, I give them that, but I still think that mine look very much the same, they're just smaller. So I took these plasters, ornaments, and I just cut off the hanging part, and then I also sanded it down just to round it up a little bit so it doesn't look rough where I cut it. I am leaving these the way they are with the wood. I am just flipping them around. I'm not even taking the white part off, where I sometimes take it off and I flip it and hot glue it. I'm just leaving them as they are, not staining them. And then I'm going to, once the ornaments are sanded down, I'm going to hot glue them to the frame. This was such a super easy DIY and inexpensive, and I think it has a high impact. I love the way they turned out, and like I said before, I think they came out pretty close for $4.50, and I could not be more happier. I could not spend $189 on two pieces of art anyways, no matter what size they are. Dupe that I'm gonna be working on, you need some, I am using some of the drop cloth that I picked up at Dollarama, and the whole piece, I think it's 8 feet by 10 feet, is $4. And then I picked up these placemats from Dollar Tree for $1.50 each. So I'm gonna say the two of these pillows cost me $8.50, but I did not use all of the backing. The drop cloth, I only used maybe a quarter of it, and I'm going to be recreating this Christmas pillow. As you can see, it was $45 for one, and I'm going to be making two. And like I said, if I take into consideration the whole piece, cost me $8.50. Now you could also just purchase exactly the same piece or even a different one, so you can flip your pillows around. So I could have made one pillow out of these two and had two different looking pillows depending on how I feel each day, and flip the pillow around. Or you can buy the same ones and just glue the same ones together. Now I'm going to be using a hot glue to make this pillow. You can sew if you know how. I don't. So I'm going to cut my piece of drop cloth to about an inch longer on two sides. Now the reason for this is because I am using the edges of this cloth that are already sewn in, so they're thicker. So the two edges are like that, and then the two edges aren't. So that way I can create with that little bit over material that thicker edge. So once I am double cutting, and so I'm cutting two pieces at once, and then I'm going to hot glue this to the pillow, but only hot gluing the three sides, leaving one open so I can stuff it before I close it up. You can also make these as pillowcases if you have pillows that will fit inside that case. I didn't, but I did have pillow stuffing, so I use that. So I go ahead and I hot glue the thicker edges of the drop cloth to the placemats, and just line them up perfectly on both sides. For the shorter side that is cut, I am folding it over and lining it up perfectly, and then I'm going to hot glue that in. I am snipping the edge of the corner off just so I have a more of a cleaner fold. Now before I hot glue it completely shut, I do stuff it with some pillow stuffing. Now I do the exact same thing on this side where I fold it, but this time I actually hot glued the fold together first. I was just worried that with the stuffing poking through and all this stuff, it was going to be harder to do it the other way, so I hot glued the fold first and then I hot glue it together. These pillows are so great, being that they are so inexpensive if you want to keep them on your front porch for decor. That way, in case your front porch gets snowed on and things like that, it's not too you don't feel too bad if they get ruined. I've never had a pillow get ruined on my front porch, and we do get quite a bit of snow here, but it's also not so bad if they get stolen for any reason. You don't feel bad that you spend $3 on a pillow versus $20-$30 that some of these pillows cost, or in this case $45. Did not go through the full tutorial on the second one, but I did make the second one as well.
Dressed in gold and red, garlands and ribbon thread.
I just love the way these turned out, and I am determined to go get a couple more and create a couple more pillows. I just love pillows, and I think it is a great dupe. Doesn't look exactly the same, but the idea behind it is obviously the same, and I saved myself a ton of money.
Fresh pine tree, I get down on one knee, ringing.
For my next DIY, I picked up these Dollar Tree bells. They were $1.25. I'm pretty sure every Dollar Tree has these, and I'm going to be recreating this look, although I'm going to be using 3 bells, not 5, because I'm going to be making 2 of them. So I removed all the little embellishments that the bells had, and then I went in with, again, those 3 colors: spun gold, yellow gold, and then cinnamon. But I'm not going to be painting these. I tried painting them and I felt that the paint wasn't really going on as well as I would like. So I went in and then I ended up dabbing the paint on instead of brushing it on, which you will see in just a minute. And I had to work in stages for this. So I went first with the spun gold, and I only did the top part. The bottom part is a little bit flatter. So I let the bottom so I did the top part and then I let it fully dry before I did the bottom part, and then I repeated the same process with all the paints that I was adding, although I was mixing the next 2 paints together and dabbing them together at the same time. But I did do one half first and then the next half once it's dried. So this project did take a little bit of time, but the end result is so worth it. For past few years, I have been obsessed with decorating with bells, whether that's the vintage cowbells or just any gold rustic looking bells. And So I wanted to recreate this because I wanted to add something to my outdoor wreath, and which is another project in this DIY video that I will be sharing. And I wanted to spruce up my wreath, but I also wanted to add bells to it. So I decided to make my own to add to it. And I am obsessed with how all those two projects came together and how it looks on my front door. So once they were painted and dried, I went ahead and got some rope. I have just some twine, and I also have some thicker rope that I'm going to be using. And I wanted to make like a door hanger almost with the rope. So I went ahead and I tied a loop, and then I went with a thicker rope and I wrapped it around and created a little bit of a longer loop at the top, just to kind of recreate that look that the bells or here had. And so that way I can hang them up on my door, I can hang them up on my banister, my mantle, wherever I choose to use them, if I choose to use them outside of my wreath. And as I mentioned before, I am grouping them by three, and I'm making them three different lengths. So when you're cutting your rope, you want to make sure that it's cut different lengths, or that you tie a knot at a different length. And as I mentioned before, I just love the way these guys turned out. And I think it's such an inexpensive project to give you that high-end elevated look. Especially I I've decorated with these white bells before, but I am so feeling the traditional colors this year, along with some vintage and earthy tones, and that is what all of my decor in the house is, with some nostalgic pieces sprinkled in throughout. So if you ever want to check out how I decorate with all of these things, I do have a home channel where I share all that, and it's linked down below. So let me know what you guys think about these guys. So for my next project, I use this very expensive wreath for an inspiration from Pottery Barn. And this one is a little bit smaller, as I have, I think these are 10-inch round forms from Dollar Tree. But I needed a smaller one because I'm going to be using it on my home sign. I like to switch out the wreath that I use, and I needed one for there because I used the one that was originally there somewhere else in a house. So I went in my stash and I picked up all the berries that I had that were just for crafting. And then for the base, this you can't even see, but I wanted a bit of a solid base for the wreath. I use the pine needles, pine branches from Dollar Tree, and I just had glued them onto the wreath. Before I did that, I did take off some of the other branches off of a garland that I had, just to use to add a bit of a different textures. I am pulling these long ones. I did not end up using these. And then I also get the pine cones and the berries all ready for my wreath assembly. So once I had all of my embellishments ready, it was time to assemble the wreath. So like I mentioned before, I'm going to hot glue the branches on. This will create a base for my wreath. It took 5 of these to cover the whole wreath. So once that was in place, I took a berry garland. This is a garland that I've had for probably about 20 some years. I still use it on my family room tree all the time, but I had switched out my tree 2 years ago, so I have a much smaller one. And so I have a lot of these wreaths left, a lot of these garlands left over. So I'm going to add that one to it. I am just removing the end pieces that no longer have berries on them. I'm also removing some berries that were broken. And then I'm also going to clip off tips that don't have anything on them past the berries. I am leaving the leaves on there as well and just spreading everything out. And now I'm going to hot glue the whole garland onto the wreath and it will cover the whole top of the wreath. The inspiration piece has lots of different berries, from large ones to small, the clusters of berries to smaller berries, from bright red to dark red. So that is what I'm trying to recreate here. I did end up adding another one, another smaller one in here, just because the first one didn't fully go around. So once it was on there, I went ahead and trimmed off any pieces that I did that were empty and just a little unnecessary twigs that were sticking out. Then I just shaped it the way I wanted to, and then I started with adding the other stuff to it. Whenever I'm working with a wreath this size, I like to add my biggest pieces first because I feel like this takes up the most space, and then I can kind of see where I can add all the smaller pieces as fillers. So, guys, I would like to know, what are your colors for this year for Christmas? Are you going with traditional? Are you going with earthy? Are you mixing it all together? Are you going on the wild side and using a lot of different colors? I would love to know. I love Christmas decor. It is one of my favorite holidays to decorate for. And I love fall as a season to decorate for, but Christmas is definitely a holiday that I enjoy decorating for the most. And I transform my whole main floor into a Christmas wonderland. So let me know down below what your theme this year is for your Christmas decor. So once all of my berries were in place, I am adding my greenery picks in here, like my pine, I think I will add a little bit of cedar as well. I don't know whether I have spruce. I'm not 100% sure what exactly all of these are called. But anyways, I'm just adding them in, and then I'm going to finish it off with some pine cones. I did go ahead and grab a couple more pieces just to fill it in a little bit more. And I absolutely love with the way this turned out. I picked up these picture frames from Dollar Tree, and if you remember a few DIYs ago, I shared a very similar frame, just slightly larger, that I found at HomeSense. These Dollar Tree frames are a perfect substitute if you couldn't find them, find the HomeSense version. Even though they're smaller, you can still recreate the same elevated Ralph Lauren inspired look. I started by taking the frames apart and bringing the pieces outside. I spray painted them in black. I only have a satin finish on hand right now, but it really doesn't matter because the black will be completely covered later. The satin finish actually looked quite beautiful on its own, so you could leave them like that if you prefer. But you know me, I love a vintage layered look, so I kept going. I used Dixie Belle's antique gold gilding wax on one frame and their copper gilding wax on the other. These waxes are incredibly creamy, highly pigmented, and perfect for adding antique metallic highlights. You can apply gilding wax with a stippling brush with your fingertip for more control, or with a cloth for a softer, more subtle sheen. Then they dry quickly, blend beautifully, and a tiny bit goes a long way. For the inserts, I designed these myself in Canva, and I'll have a free link down below for you to download. I sized mine to fit the frame as closely as possible, but depending on your printer, you may need to trim them. I used the glass from the frame as a guide to cut them down, since the backing was slightly larger than the insert area. Once the print was trimmed, I placed it into a frame. You could secure it with a little tape just to make sure it couldn't shift. These turned out so adorable, the perfect little Ralph Lauren dupes with all those classic colors and patterns. What colors or patterns say Ralph Lauren to you? Deep reds, tartans, gold? Let me know in the comments. For the next DIY, we're making stunning textured ornaments. I picked up both small ornaments and these giant statement ornaments from Dollarama. First things first, I removed all the ornament caps and took them outside for a light coat of spray paint. This helps the next layer of paint or wax grip better. Starting with the large ornaments, I use Dixie Belle's chalk mineral paint in Rustic Red. This is the most gorgeous deep holiday red. I applied one coat, let it dry, while that was drying, I moved on to the next ornament. For the second large ornament, I used Dixie Belle Silk Paint in Midnight Green. This paint is a primer paint and top coat all in one, but on shiny surfaces like ornaments, it usually needs two coats unless you create texture like I did. After applying the paint, I used the same brush to lightly dab all over, building a soft dimensional texture. While the paint was still wet, I coated the entire ornament with a generous amount of baking soda. Now I let this dry. Back to the red ornament. I mixed just a small amount of baking soda into the paint before applying it. This gives great texture and also helps with coverage. I have so many different ways to create Christmas ornaments with different techniques. I will link one of my big videos that showcase all of those ornaments at the end for you to check it out. After painting it, I covered the entire ornament with baking soda as well. Yes, this part is messy, but so worth it.
Hold up, I am on my way. I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Once both ornaments were completely dry, I used a clean brush to remove the excess baking soda. You can also use your hands to smooth and blend, but brushing first helps lift most of it off gently.
We'll be chilling and having a good time. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sand. You ready? Doesn't matter, it is Christmas in my heart. And I can promise Santa's coming to visit. No, he wouldn't miss this in Christmas times. Oh, and the sunset, it is just getting better on a blanket with the skyline painted in blue. Ooh, yeah, that's what
Next, I added gilding wax to the ornament toppers to give them a vintage brass look.
if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sand. You ready? Doesn't matter, it is Christmas in my heart. Here we go. All right. Now this Christmas, we're gonna dance. We're gonna dance. Come on.
I also added a bit more wax to the green ornament since I didn't let the paint dry long enough. I didn't let the wax dry long enough and I smudged some of it. So learn from me and let it dry before adding it. Both ornaments turned out stunning, rich textured, and so luxurious, giving them that velvet finish. If you're loving these high-end Christmas dupes so far, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps my channel grow so I can keep making look for less DIYs for you. Would you make these in red and green or try another color? Tell me below. I think brown. For the last project, I'm working with these plain wood Nutcracker. If you follow me on my home channel, you've probably seen these appear all throughout my decor. I picked up 2 more because I wanted to give them a luxurious Lauren twist. I got them at Dollarama and they were $5 each. I originally planned to paint them in all Ralph Lauren colors, but the wood was soaking up the paint too quickly and it just didn't look right. So I pivoted, which happens all the time with DIYs, and I took them outside to spray both completely black. Now, I know some of you aren't fans of black Christmas decor, but stay with me. I created two different finishes, so there's something for everyone.
Come and join us in this song. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sand. You and me. Doesn't matter, it's Christmas in my heart.
For the first Nutcracker, I added antique gold gilding wax to the face, the knob on the hat, the hands, and the ends of the drumsticks. Basically, any rounded detail. This gave it such a cute, polished, high-end look. For the second Nutcracker, I wanted a fully engaged vintage feel, so I brushed the gold wax lightly all over the entire piece. This technique adds instant warmth, patina, and that collected over time charm. And again, this wax goes a long way, even in a tiny container. Here they are, such elegant classic pieces, and I can't wait to use them in my Christmas decorating this year. Which finish do you prefer, the detailed gold accents or the fully vintage gold wash? Or do you just prefer the the original styled nutcrackers with all the different colors? Thanks so much for crafting with me today. I hope you loved these high-end Christmas DIYs, Ralph Lauren inspired holiday decor, luxury look for less projects. If you created any of these, don't forget to tag me on Instagram. I absolutely love seeing your versions. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss more high-end dupes and luxury DIY decorating ideas. Let me know in the comments which project was your favorite and what Ralph Lauren inspired DIY you'd like to see me try next. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.